Hello, peoples of the internet. Today I am outside, so we're right in the middle of nature. You can see we got some cloudy and sunny skies. I got Evie on the deck. She just had a surgery today, so she's not feeling great, but she's going to feel a lot better after this surgery. So got all my plants in the house. Of course, all the crystals on my necklace. And today I thought I'd share some information that's coming in this time period. So this is the most recent information that's coming in at this time. And I believe that this information is connected to the other information that was coming in about a week ago in regards to loving ourselves in pain spaces of loved ones and of our own selves. And I would have mentioned at that time that a couple weeks ago, or months ago, I had removed a barrier that was within the females to fully being able to love ourselves. And when I removed that barrier, there was a tsunami of light that came in at that time. And I remember saying to myself, ooh, this is going to be interesting. I wonder what this is going to do. And since then, I've been doing tons and tons of healings in like the subtle cues. They all came up in this. The area that I don't need a man to love my body, I don't need a man to accept me as a professional, to feel as a professional. I don't need to tend to other people's energies in my environment. I don't need to tend to other people's pain spaces that I can detect as an empath. So a whole bunch of old programs and subtle cue spaces and pain spaces that are coming up in this time period. And one of those pain spaces is the pain space of our loved ones suffering. And usually to be able to handle that space, we go into anger, annoyance, frustration. You can go into guilt and blame, either blame in or blame out. And both are preventing you from accessing the pain space of what you're going through and loving yourself into wholeness. So underneath of that pain space, what I had found is a space of you are doing enough. You are enough. So it would be I am enough is the code, and I am doing enough. And what the God Source was showing me in that space is that it was kind of showing me like in this pain space, there's a lot of past lifetime pain. So it was showing me times of, like say somebody getting hurt in an earthquake and you're sitting there loving your loved one, trying to prevent, blood. Like say they have no limb and you're trying to prevent the blood from flowing and you're screaming for help and they're screaming because they're in so much pain and you can't do anything to stop it. Maybe there's no doctors or maybe there's no medicine. And so those are some of the pain spaces of the past. They are also really showing me things like the bubonic plague or other plagues in the past when people were like literally spitting up, coughing up blood and mucus and, groaning in pain. And you're having to watch your loved ones in that state. And there was, again, no medicine, no doctors. There was nothing that could be done. And in that time period, the humans, and particularly the caretakers or the mothers, weren't able to access their love of themselves or their safety within themselves. I love myself even here. I'm safe even here. To be able to neutralize, harmonize, and alchemize those pain spaces. And so what I could see in these spaces is that there was like a personal contract that we made where we said, I'm never going to feel this again. I'm never going to do this again. I'm never going to feel this again. This was too painful. I'm never going to love to this degree again. And that's part of, it impedes our freedom. It impedes our freedom in this lifetime. It impedes our ability to fully love and to fully enjoy love. And an aspect of this pain space that I was uncovering the other day, and it was in regards to Evie, and I was just feeling so much like guilt and shame and like I'm not good enough and I'm failing her and I'm not a good mom. And then finally I dropped down into that pain space, and there was just so much sadness down there. And underneath of that is where the God source was saying, you're doing enough, Lisa. You're present, you're loving her. You can't, there's so many things that are out of the human's control. So like an earthquake, like in that one story, is out of that mom's control. You know, the bubonic plague is out of that mom's control. You know, how much money I have in the bank is out of my control, you know. And it's like, we only have so many resources inside of us and available to us to be able to help and assist. And we're still there. We're still loving the person. Yeah, we can save them from the pain. We can stop it. We can stop the experience. But we're there and we're loving and we're doing the best that we can. And that's enough. And so this is the wound space that's coming up in this time period. And what did the God source called it? The horrors of humanity. That's what the God source called this wound space. The horrors of humanity. So all of the most terrifying, painful spaces to exist within and to feel like you couldn't do anything about it created these, what the God source called the horrors of humanity. And those horrors is what's down in that pain space waiting for it to be cleared and accepted and validated. And what the God source told me about that pain space is that all humans are going to enter that pain space. That pain space is natural to humanity. It happens when you're a human. It happens on the earth plane. Things like that happen. And so all we can do is radically accept and radically heal those spaces from our mind, body, spirits, and souls. And if anything, we don't need to judge ourselves there and hate on ourselves and be like, oh, you're a big loser, you're an idiot, you're so stupid, you should have done more, you should have done better. You know, instead of doing things like that, we should be like, you're doing the best you can, and I love you even here, and you're safe even here, and you need extra love here because you're going through something hard, difficult, painful. And that's why the God source was calling it the horrors of humanity, because literally it's the worst experiences the humans ever went through, and particularly the worst experiences that we saw suffering in. That's my work phone, and it's dinging off the hook. So if you're wondering what's dinging, it's my phone. It's my work phone, which also tells me that it's something important that I'm talking about. So for me specifically, somebody's probably sent me a bunch of pictures. For me specifically, I was noticing, you know, in times that I've told people, that it was particularly like when I've told my mom specific things, like about my life and stuff, like things that I thought were important, like, oh, I got this grade, or, oh, you know, this guy likes me, or, oh, I don't know, I got this job, or, oh, I got into the school program. And it seemed like a lot of the things that I told her over time, like there was not a lot of emotion around it. It wasn't like super excitement or, you know, like, because I'm a sensor, I'm a feeler, I didn't really feel that. And if anything, there was like a distraction and like, oh, look at over here. Oh, what's this thing over here? You know, and it was like not paying attention to the thing that I was saying. And for me specifically, that led to a wound of feeling unseen, unheard, unacknowledged, unappreciated. And when I was holding this wound space the other day, because it got triggered when I was having a conversation, and I was telling her about like a new job position that I just got, and it seemed like she didn't really care. And I was like, that's weird, and I just, whatever, I just didn't take it personally, I just changed the subject kind of thing. But later I was thinking about that, and I'm like, yeah, that's weird, that's a weird experience. Like, I think that's happened like a lot in my life. And I was thinking, I don't know, maybe it was like 5 days ago, and I was thinking, like, my daughter was trying to tell me something, and I was trying to hold space for my daughter, but I could feel that I was doing the same behavior. I was like switching the subject, or I was like, "Oh, what's that thing over there?" kind of thing, and like what you're saying isn't important. And even sometimes, if I'm radically honest, inside of me, I'd be like, oh, well, why is she telling me this stuff? Like, this stuff doesn't matter. It's that kind of a feeling that was inside. And I was like, as soon as I recognized that thing, I was like, I don't like that. That's weird. That's sick. Like, it's sickness that would create that. And I don't like the feeling of it. And I just want to clear this because I just want to be fully present to her. And I was thinking, like, oh, that's so weird. Today or yesterday, I was thinking, that's weird because, like, no, like, my primary figures haven't been present to me, and lots of other people either. Lots of coworkers, lots of friends, lots of partners even aren't present or don't seem to care. And I'm like, okay, that's weird. Like, it's almost like a dulling down of the experience or something like that. And I was like, well, I don't like that. Like, that's weird. And as I was paying attention to that space, I was dropping down into what's underneath, and I recognized, oh my God, this pain space is underneath of that pattern. And it's because the humans don't want to fully connect to other humans. So it's this thing about, like, we can't just listen for the sake of listening. I gotta say, there are some really good listeners out there, but most people don't listen for the sake of listening. Like, they aren't intently listening. In a lot of cases, like me as a therapist, I do a lot of listening to help, listening to make it better, listening to find the answers, and if I catch myself in the past, which I've caught myself doing this weird pattern where I would, distract or say something else, and I'd be like, wait, what were you saying? Like, I know it was important. What were you saying? And I would bring it back to the thing, but I was still aware of the pattern and thinking, what the hell is this thing? And underneath of it, I recognized it's a fear of pain. And it's these contracts that we made that I'm never going to care too much. I'm never going to allow myself to care to the point of hurting this bad. If I listen intently to what they're saying, I'm going to have to hurt, and I don't want to hurt, so I'm not going to listen intently. So one of the programs that we do in there is that we distract. I was noticing that one of the distractions is obviously changing the subject, or like, oh, what's this thing over here? That's one of the programs that a person can do in there. But I was also noticing that the, oh, what is it called? Not the distractions, not the disturbance. Like when the TV goes shh, right? That's one of my last videos. When that energy comes up, so like, we're always sensing things from our environment, right? So when we're sensing that from our environment, we'll use that as a distraction to not pay attention to this conversation so that I don't have to feel as deeply, or trying to figure out how I can fix it or change it or make it better. That would be another way that I could. There's a helicopter in the air, so if you're hearing that, that's a helicopter. And I'm hand holding my phone today because I'm sitting in my hammock, and I'm just sitting out here watching Evie because she loves it outside, and so she's just relaxing and trying to feel better. So I'm distracting right now from this conversation. I'm doing exactly the thing with the dissonance. No, it's not dissonance. With the energies, using the energies as a distraction. So another thing that we'll do is we'll try to fix something. So I'll be listening intently, but I'm listening to fix, because fixing isn't as intimate as actually just relaxing into listening. If I just relax into listening, I'm going to have to feel. And if I feel, I don't know how to handle it. And because I don't know how to handle it, or I might suffer, or someone else might suffer, or there might be pain involved in it, I might have to feel their pain. I'm not going to do the thing. And so that's why we're, as a collective, really terrible at just holding the space of listening. So I would actually have to access my own connection to myself there first. And to get to the connection of myself, I had to go through that pain space that the God Source was calling the horrors of humanity. And only any friggin' humans want to go through the horror of humanity. I'm telling you right now. It was the saddest, most pain-filled space, so heavy. And when I was doing the clearing, when I was doing the release, I kept seeing the color purple gray, and like almost like a mauve gray, which to me is always like mud. And to me, that's that's even underneath the foundation, like the sand and then the mud. This is the mud. And like, we're created of the mud, you know? And so I could tell I was like super low. I was super deep into the pain space. And once I started to heal the space, once I accessed the space and I began to heal the space, I started to see the color. My son just was there for a second, if you're wondering what happened. But, oh yeah, I'm rocking the hammock. I'm going to try to relax it. I saw the color yellow. I saw a muted yellow, so a white yellow. And it, like when I was clearing it, it made sense why I was seeing yellow, because yellow's self-hate, self-disgust, human hate, human disgust, worldly hate, worldly disgust, obviously relational hate, relational disgust, or connection hate, connection disgust, from the fear of pain, of facing pain, of having to feel pain. I can't connect deep into myself because I'm going to have to feel pain. I can't connect deep into myself so that I can just hold space for the other, because it's going to trigger my fear of pain. And so this is the time period where we just need to alchemize this. And so that muted yellow, that white yellow, was the color that I was seeing. And it was a healing color. And I could tell it was the angelics. The reason that that yellow with self-hate, self-disgust, human hate, human disgust, of the organs was a white yellow, is because there was massive angelic love coming into this space just to help us to heal these horrors of humanity that the humans have experienced over the past 27,500 years without the capacity to love ourselves there, without the capacity to alchemize it with our own love and to feel safe enough to alchemize it and to hold that loving space for ourselves so that we could love ourselves there. And these are the spaces we need it the most. This is bottom of the barrel trauma. So I'm just going to clear that from us. And I was talking to my client today that I think this is connected to a feeling that a lot of humans are having right now, which is almost like a compassion fatigue. It's a burnout feeling that a lot of people are having. I know a lot of people are even feeling like I don't even want to work anymore. Like I don't have any kindness left in me, and like no compassion left. And well, for one thing, I think that's connected to the new ways that are beginning to unfold and are going to continue to unfold. So as the old systems collapse, the new systems are going to be built, and there's going to be new ways of existing. sort of like new jobs or new work to do, new opportunities that haven't been available up until now, where a lot of people are going to start to do these things that that are really going to bring them joy and happiness and feed their souls, and that a lot of us have been doing things that, you know, haven't necessarily been doing that thing. But I also think a lot of the reason why people are feeling fatigued by it is because we feel like we have to fix it, because we're in that distraction mode of like, oh, I have to do something about it, I have to fix it, oh, I can't feel this, I just have to distract and look away. And that just, what was the other word we said today? We said dissociation is also, I think, a part of this wound. And it's like when you can't take it and you just disappear yourself as a safety mechanism. And I think compassion fatigue is also another safety mechanism of like feeling like I can't keep fixing people when they won't take my fixings, or when they're not getting better, or when everyone's getting bad and worse and sicker and more traumatized and complaining and sad and pain, filled with pain, and can't figure it out. You know, it's getting to be too much for the humans. But the reality is we don't have to do anything about it. We literally can just love ourselves into wholeness, fully connect into ourselves, and just hold loving space for it. And I believe, because this is what the God Source told me in the past, is that when you can hold loving space for something, so remember, things have like a full circle. Everything in this world is about completion. The feminine way is completion. It's the full circle. But if you're part of the way through the circle, and then you stagnate, what you're not doing is completing. So when someone can really tell their truth and they're heard by someone that isn't feeling like they have to do anything about it, usually that truth then disappears. But if you try to tell someone, and like this has been my experience in the past, I totally get this. If you try to tell someone like, oh my God, like this horrible, terrible thing happened to me, and they're like blanked out and dissociated and not in their feeling state, or they distract, or they change the subject and they're not present to it, then you go and you tell someone else, and then you tell someone else, and you tell someone else, looking to complete it, but you can't get it completed. And people just think like you're such a weirdo, like you've already told everybody, like how come you just don't let that go, right? Well, they're not letting it go because it's never been actually fully completed. It hasn't actually been heard in a way that it was like, what you have to say is important, what you have to say matters. It's like accompanying the pain space, and they've never received that because people are disconnected from their own souls, or from their own hearts, or from their ability to hold pain for themselves, let alone for anyone else. And so that's what I'm noticing is coming up in this time period. And I am going to clear that from you. I've already cleared it from me, so I'm going to clear it. I'm going to share this clearing, healing, and hopefully from the human collective, because we want to heal this. It is a horrifying space. It's the most horrifying spaces of humanity, where we weren't able to be present, is where we're going to learn to be present, knowing that we don't have to fix it, save it, or heal it. We just have to love ourselves there first and foremost, so that we can hold loving space for the other, so that they too can complete, the experience of it, or, let it go. And so here we go. So, Source God Mother, I acknowledge and accept everything that we're speaking of so far today, and I recognize that these are the healings that are coming up in this time period collectively for humanity, and that these are neglected pain spaces of humans. They're places that we've fought hard to stay out of. We've created major coping skills to stay out of it. And that's another reason why we're so tired, why we're so burned out, because those coping skills take a lot of our energy. Distracting with these things takes a lot of our energy. Listening to the dissonance dissonance, and trying to figure it all out is taking up all of our energy. Frustration, annoyance, guilt, blame, shame, all of these things are taking up our energy. And then we're trying to, disappear ourselves from those spaces so that we can handle what we're inside of. And we're not meant to handle it. We're meant to alchemize it. And I recognize that the programs and patterns of the past taught us to not listen to each other. We were taught to, if we listened, that it was dangerous, that we were going to have to feel that it was too terrifying, that the horrors of humanity terrified us too much to begin to access those pain spaces in ourselves so that we could access the truth. And what's in the truth is this: number one, this isn't even mine. Number two, these are normal experiences to the humans. All humans here will have these experiences. That's why they're called the horrors of humanity, not just one person, two person, three person, but all of humanity. And that all of the mothers and the caregivers and the people who loved others were doing the best they could. They were doing enough. They were enough. And that we didn't have to fix it, save it, heal it. We didn't have to stop it. We didn't have to control it. We just needed to love ourselves into wholeness so that we could hold that sacred space of completion and alchemize our own pain spaces first and foremost, and secondarily hold that loving space for others. And Source Godmother, I recognize that, like, for me, there was so much sadness down in this space. It was the sadness of my own childhood and my own lifetime, and not receiving this from the people that I loved the most, and feeling like neglected and abandoned, and like you weren't important and you didn't matter and your voice didn't matter and your experiences didn't matter and that your pain didn't matter. And that was never true. The thing is that as a human collective, we just didn't have the capacity to hold that space or to alchemize that space. And so those ones with the most feeling were the ones that suffered the most, because we were feeling it and no one was validating it or acknowledging it or, even holding loving space for it. So we never learned to hold our own loving space for it. And we want to heal those programs from our mind, body, spirits, and souls, those internal dynamics and those external dynamics, because that's sad. That's sad that the humans didn't feel seen, heard, validated, like they were important, like their pain mattered, like their choices mattered, like it was even good things, their celebrations, like they mattered. It was like a lack of feeling in all the spaces. And you mattered. You always mattered. And if the person would have been able to feel, they would have known they mattered too. We all matter. Our experience matter. Our pain matters. Our choices matter. Our experiences matter. Our love matters. It all matters. And this is the wound space where we begin to see, like, holy shit, this is not just happening in my lifetime. This is happening for 27,500 years of lifetimes of humans, and all of that pain and all of that sadness. Because if we knew we mattered, can you imagine what we would have done? Can you imagine what we would have created? Can you imagine where we would have gone? Oh, the places you will go, right? Dr. Seuss, right? And we forgive ourselves for that, and we clear those pain spaces. We clear those frozen pain spaces, those modes of functioning, those ways of existing, trigger points. We clear, cleanse, and heal the internal contracts, the contracts that we made with ourselves out of love, to not do this thing, to protect ourselves in some kind of way that actually wasn't protecting. It was preventing us from fully existing. It was preventing us from being fully human, from fully feeling, from fully experiencing. And we don't want to do that to ourselves or anyone else ever again. And we want to clear all of that pain and that suffering and that sorrow and that grief. That's what I could say, that what it felt like. And there's so much grief. Grieving, but grief. So much sadness. And we want to clear all of that from our mind, body, spirits, and souls. We want to clear that past the DNA and RNA and into the God space of first creation, disintegrating the old DNA and RNA back to dust and initiating the new and reconfiguring for each unique blueprint. Clearing, cleansing, and healing through the cellular, energetic, and magnetic structures and the subconscious, unconscious, and conscious minds, pulling all of that through to oneness, to wholeness, to peace, to truth, to love, all and clearing, cleansing, and healing all drama, karma, trauma, and disintegrating all of that back to dust. There's motorbikes and things just gunning it over there. So usually when there's a lot of electrical activity, it's a distraction from us completing the important work that we're here to do. And so we just know that this is a good one and it's a powerful one. So those of you that are here doing this, yay on you, because this is a hard one to pull in and a hard one to pull and a hard one to admit. There's punches in this, but we're going to forgive ourselves for that, and we're going to clear that. And when we forgive it and clear it, we begin to exist in brand new ways. And I want to. You know, my children are worthy of that. I'm worthy of that. My internal child is worthy of that. The human collective is worthy of that. The plants, animals, air, earth, water are worthy of our healings. And so, yeah, hex, yeah, I'm going to do it. And we clear, cleanse, and heal all of that now. We welcome the helper frequencies and helper beings into these spaces to continue to help us to access these spaces and to continue to help us to clear them from our mind, body, spirits, and souls. We release through the children and up through the ancestral webs, past lifetimes in their webs, and for the collective universal who are open to it at this time, including all planetary systems and on all sides of the veil. In this universe and in the multiverses, we quantum forgive that we didn't know what we know until now, that we existed this way inside of ourselves and towards our loved ones. We quantum forgive that our parents didn't know any different or any better. We quantum forgive that the human collective has been holding this for so long without loving ourselves in these spaces, and then without accessing that deep connection to ourselves, so that this intimate connection to ourselves, so that we can begin to intimately connect with others, knowing that it's not our job to fix, save, or heal them. It's only our job to hold loving space for ourselves first and foremost. And Source God Mother, please help me with all of that, and please clear all of that from the human collective. Quantum forgive it, and forgive it some more, including the body and the appendix, because that's an appendix healing. It's also a yellow chakra healing. And we welcome in those angelics and angelic beings and angelic frequencies to that sort of buttery yellow, to buttercup yellow. Oh, so cute. I did see yellow flowers when I was doing this. They look like sunflowers. And so we clear, cleanse, and heal all of that now through all quantum fields. And we purify back to the God Source origins, welcoming those healed helpers, those beings of light, those doctors, healers, and nurses in all realms of existence, to continue to purify and alchemize these spaces and drop us into those original blueprints, those original codes, and to continue these healings until completed. We give so much gratitude and thankfulness to the helper beings and helper frequencies, the angels, the ancestors, and the elementals. It's getting windy. There's the elements that are here with us, helping us, guiding us, loving us, nourishing us, holding loving space for us, giving us this information, holding this space so that gently holding us to this space so that we could find this information and clear it, not only for ourselves, but for our loved ones and our relationships and for the future of humanity, because those horrors of humanity deserve to be cleared and healed. Nobody was doing anything wrong in there. We were doing the best that we could. And we need to know that I am enough, that we are enough, so that we can begin to create magical timelines in front of us that we've always been deserving of creating. And we clear, cleanse, and heal all of that now through all quantum fields. And we're opening to receive for best and the highest well-being. With the most ultimate of love and gratitude, I choose this. So I choose this and breathe. So I'm just going to do an energetic clearing real quick. So Source God Mother, please immediately evolute my systems for best and highest well-being of the systems within me and the systems around me, including those frequencies of my feet. And as you immediately evolute those frequencies of my feet, I ask that you ground me to my feet, to the insides of my feet, so that when I ask to be grounded to my feet, I am accessing this depth level of, is a position in the body when we begin to connect to ourselves at this level of depth. It's really deep in here. It's about right there. That's that spot that I call the seat of the soul. And as we really connect down into that space, it brings us that peace, that calm, that presence, that ability to stay present to ourselves and present to our experiences. So I'll be interested to see how this changes me into the future and how it changes my way of relating with others. And I'm really excited about that. But Source God, please also root me from my red chakra, from my root chakra into the form realm. And help me to share or exchange life force frequency, healing codes, knowledge, wisdom with my earthly family, but also with my natural family, the natural kingdom. And help us to fractalize the healing codes that we need at this time period, particularly in our torsos for these healings, our stomach, our torsos, and also into Evie. She's breathing pretty deep over there right now. As she comes out of this surgery, I ask that you give extra healing codes into her and just opening up her hands and feet and pushing out any extra energies that she doesn't need at this time, any trauma of the surgeries itself, and then rooting her paws into the form realm, rooting her body into the natural kingdom, and just allowing her to exchange life force frequency healing codes and knowledge and wisdom from her natural kingdom family, and just fractalizing that through her mind, body, spirit, and soul. And for anyone else that's here that needs that, we ask the same of all of you. And then we do the same for that little 4-year-old child that I've been talking about in the videos. His name is Clyde, and we're just going to send extra love and harmonic frequency into Clyde and really rooting Clyde. Also opening up his hands and feet, pushing out any extra energies that he doesn't need to hold in this time period, any traumas. And just rooting him into the form realm, into the natural kingdom, and just sharing, exchanging that life force frequency healing codes and wisdom, and fractalizing that healing through his mind, body, spirit, and soul, and really magnetizing any healing and magnifying any healings that are available to him at this time period, and really just calling in Evie's and Clyde's angels, ancestors, and elementals to continue to be with them and heal them in all ways possible. And we clear, cleanse, and heal all of that now through all quantum fields, and we're opening to receive for best and highest well-being. With love and gratitude, we choose this. So I choose this and breathe. You can see we're right at the sunset there. And if you're feeling lightheaded, pay attention to how you're feeling. If you're feeling lightheaded, please ground me to the insides of my feet. And if you're needing a little extra love right now, you're just going to ask, please trigger my vagus nerve now. Ooh, yeah. Ooh, that feels good. And we might as well take an etheric breath. We'll take an etheric breath first for all of those that need it. Anybody who's suffering or in pain at this time, an etheric breath for them. And one more for them. And for the plants and the mineral kingdom and the planets, a breath for them. And then one for all of us, because we all deserve it too. That feels awesome. All right. So please feel free to share below anything you saw in this video, anything that came to you, visions, ideas, stories that you would like to share. Please do so below. Please subscribe to my channel if you want to hear what I have to say, and just to help my channel to get out there to more people. Please share this video with people that you think could really use it, and then have conversations about these things. These are depth conversations to have with people. What do they think about it? What did they notice? You know, do they see this in their own systems? These are massive healings. And so anybody that made it this far and did these healings, way to go. We need you here. We need you on this planet. We need your light. And you're doing awesome and amazing, and way to go. So may peace be with all of us in this time period. May we each find the peace that we're looking for and the closure that we're looking for. If there's anything that I talked about today that you would like to hear more about, or you have questions about what I talked about, or there's other video ideas for me, please also leave that below. And until next time, lots of love from me, and lots of love from Evie, and lots of love from the plant kingdom and the setting sun and the sky. Lots of love. Bye.